Welcome to Woah Drama Stories. We indulge of speaking of day-to-day troubles of human beings. Let's not wait any longer and start with the video. BFF's girlfriend hits on my boyfriend, so I sit him down to have a talk, but he laughs at my face and says it's the revenge for something that happened in high school, which I had no part in. And it doesn't even end here because... Story 1. I've known my best friend all my life. Let's call him Ryan for the sake of the post. Ryan and I met in kindergarten and were friends all our lives. It wasn't until we got into high school that we became best friends. Before becoming best friends, we just knew each other as friends. And that too was due to the fact that we lived in the same neighborhood, went to the same school, shared a lot of classes together, and even some extracurriculars. Well, that wasn't really enough for us to become best friends. It was what happened in the junior year of high school that caused us to become bestest of friends, and here's what happened. Ryan was the shy, nerdy kid in high school. As a result, he was often bullied. One of his bullies was my then boyfriend, Alex, who was the high school jock, captain of the high school football team. I wasn't aware of it initially, but from what Ryan described to me over the years, it all started from friendly banter and turned into full-on bullying. I wasn't aware of any of it because Alex would do all of it in the background to save his reputation. Yes, he was that kid in high school. I wouldn't say I was any better either. I was the stupid, immature high school girl who probably wasn't observant enough about things, but when I did see things for myself, it was the final straw for me. I gave Alex no second choices. When I saw him raise his hands on Ryan, I knew it was over. I immediately broke up with him at the party where it all happened, and the next day took Ryan to the principal's office and reported Alex. He was immediately suspended due to our school's strict anti-bullying policies. We became best friends after that, hard and fast. I saw Ryan grow out of his shell and bloom into the person he is today, and well, that brings us to the present. Ryan and I both are college graduates with amazing jobs and good partners. That's where it starts going downhill. Yesterday, it was Ryan and his girlfriend's 1-year anniversary. My boyfriend and I went for a celebratory dinner along with them. Things seemed to go fairly normal until we were in the middle of the meal. My boyfriend's attitude sort of suddenly changed, and we began saying that we needed to get home as soon as possible. Not going to lie, I was pretty disappointed, and so was Ryan and his girlfriend. We tried insisting him to stay for a while longer, but he would not budge. So I just gave in, and we left. And boy, did the car ride home feel like a nightmare. All because my boyfriend couldn't hold himself back till we got home, and spilled out the fact that Ryan's girlfriend tried to get him to sleep with her. Shock would be an understatement. I was terrified because Ryan had just gotten out of an extremely toxic relationship 2 years prior, and I knew finding this out would have broken him. So I immediately sat him down the next day and confessed everything that happened between my boyfriend and his girlfriend. I expected the worst of reactions out of him, but he was surprisingly calm, as if he was aware of it all. I was waiting for him to speak, and then, after a couple of moments of terrifying silence, he began laughing. He told me that he was just giving me karma. I was dumbfounded. I thought he was just pranking me at this point, so I pressed him to talk more, and he exploded. He told me he waited all these years to ruin me like I had ruined him by dating my ex in high school. I was stunned. He screamed at me because his plan to ruin me by getting my boyfriend to sleep with his girlfriend, who wasn't even his girlfriend? This man really lied to me about his relationship for a year. For what? To ruin my relationship? I got up and started to leave the cafe. I was terrified about the guy I was seeing. He was not the Ryan I knew. Ryan tried to stop me, but I did not let him have it. Thankfully, since we were at a public place, he didn't try too much. I returned home ever since, and I feel shocked to the core. This isn't even the end of it all. Ryan has somehow managed to convince a lot of our high school mutuals, and even college mutuals, that I was the one who gave him lifelong trauma. I don't even know what to say here, y'all. I'm not even sure if any advice would help here, but if you guys have anything to drop by, you all are welcome to do so. Update. I wasn't planning to update this post, but I feel like you guys definitely would be interested to know what all went down after the initial situation. And boy, I would like you all to buckle up, because it is wild. After Ryan created this chaos of a situation, a friend of ours from college reached out to me and told me that we needed to talk. I was very scared initially because I thought she wanted to argue with me just like the others, but I didn't really have anything to lose, so I went on to call with her, which was quite literally eye-opening, because in the call, she went on to say that Ryan was the one having a crush on my boyfriend. Furthermore, she told me the reason he might have done this is probably to make me come off as a bad girlfriend or some other BS in front of my boyfriend. He was going through this identity crisis and had broken down about it to her friend during one of their smoking sessions. This made him go through some sort of identity crisis because it finally dawned upon him that he wasn't straight. I guess the mixture of his already horrible mental health, along with the realization, messed him up really bad. But the way he went about it really ruined it all for me. I decided to cut him off completely, but not before leaving him a text, with my friend's consent, telling him that I found out everything. I haven't told anyone else except for him and my boyfriend anything, because I know this is not my confession to make. Ryan has surely realized his mistakes and has started to come clean about this situation, and now everyone is trying to get back in touch with me to apologize. I haven't responded to anyone because I'm still very deeply affected by this situation. Plus, this apology isn't just mine to accept. My boyfriend is just as deserving of it. One thing we're sure of as of currently is that we're not interested in letting Ryan in our lives again, and if that's homophobic of us, we simply do not care. Comment 1. It's either Ryan or Alex that has brewed up this conspiracy to get something out of you. Please stay calm and don't give Ryan a reason to feel like he won, OP. Comment 2. Phew! What a roller coaster this post was. I could make out from a mile that Ryan's reaction had nothing to do with what happened between you guys in high school. Story 2. I don't know if this is the right subreddit to post in, but here goes. I, male 28, recently broke up with my girlfriend of 8 years. Needless to say, the breakup was gut-wrenching, depressing, and heartbreaking. I crawled into a shell of depression, anxiety, and excessive drinking for the better half of this year. Bad coping skills, I know. Recently, I've been trying to get out of it all. I've started a better diet, started socializing around, began hitting the gym and some other stuff. One of my other goals including wanting to try to get into the dating game again. I wasn't looking for anything serious either, just something casual, and well, if things went forward from there onwards, I'll leave that up to my luck, and man, I think I got lucked out. The moment I brought up dating, my brother told me there was someone he had on his mind that would love to go out with me. I was thrilled. I thought of this as a great start, and soon after, my brother got back to me, telling me that after talking to his friend, he was excited to tell me that his friend not only was ready to go out with me, but she was also very excited for it because she found me quite attractive. This was a huge ego boost for someone like me. I started prepping for the date. I picked a good outfit, even got her some chocolates, and got going for the date. The date went good. We talked, and well, I'm not going to sugarcoat it for my sake, but there was definitely some awkward parts in the date. My date was a therapist, and there were parts where I talked about my mental health, the breakup, and such. It wasn't all that bad, though. It was really helpful, in fact. So much so that some parts of it felt like I was in a therapy session almost. This isn't me confessing that I was making the date all about myself, because I really wasn't. It almost felt like it was her, in fact, who tried dragging me back to the topic of my ex and I. But like I said, overall, it was a good first date, at least for my standards. I got home feeling like a happy dude until the next morning. The very next morning, I woke up to what I thought was an email from my date, trying to make plans for our next meeting. A weird choice of social media to connect on, but okay, I thought to myself. Well, she wasn't the weird one here. I was, because the email definitely wasn't her trying to make plans with me again. It was her asking me my preferred mode of payment for making payments for our 2-hour session. I was astounded, quite literally. I sat there stunned before I picked up my phone to call my brother, who wasn't replying to me. I then called up my date to talk to her about this up front. Neither of them responded. The rest became pretty much self-explanatory to me. Ever since then, I've locked myself inside my home and have been spending my weekend gaming. Once again, I know this isn't the best of coping mechanisms out there, but I literally don't know what else to do. I don't even know why I'm sharing this on here, honestly. But regardless, if you guys have any advice/opinions, drop them down below. I'll be happy to answer them. Update. Firstly, thanks everyone for the kind comments. Your guys' enthusiasm and humor definitely made me help see this situation in a slightly bright manner. I hope this bittersweet update does justice to your guys' curiosity. LOL. The very next day that this all happened, my brother showed up at my door. We both knew what he was there for, so I just let him in and we started talking. He started off by apologizing to me for everything that happened, and then went on to explain that my date was indeed his friend, and the therapist part was pretty much true as well. The part which was not true was the one where he had set us up on a date. He simply had just asked his friend to accompany me as a date because I've been having a tough time after my previous relationship, and to give me company. He told her that he'd pay her for it. He also specifically asked her to help me open up to her because obviously I'm struggling here with that, LOL. So when after the date got over, she accidentally emailed me for the payment. My brother and I have very similar names, with the difference of us a letter or two. She immediately realized her mistake and called up my brother. Panic ensued and the both of them ghosted me to get their shit together. By the time my brother was done with the story, I was bursting out laughing out of sheer cringe and embarrassment. I literally was out of words for the both of them. My brother once again apologized to me, furthermore explaining to me how he did what he did to get my ego boosted before I dwelled into the real dating world, and to put the cherry on top, he also told me that his friend was interested to go on another date with me. I thanked him, but at the same time begged him not to pull anything like this again. I also told him after all that happened, I was definitely paranoid to even consider going out with his friend. He said he completely understood. We decided to let go of the situation over a bottle of beer. It's already been a week since all that went down. It's definitely not gone out of my mind yet. I know this situation is weird and unbelievable, but I'm not lying when I say this situation has definitely made me realize that I'm in need of a therapy more than I think. Things could have gone way worse, so in a way, I'm glad that they didn't. Comment 1. Why do I feel like this is either going to be something hilarious or end up horribly? Regardless, OP, seems like you need some real therapy. Don't get into the habit of locking yourself inside the house due to the slightest of inconveniences. Comment 2. The update was hilarious. I'm now looking at the comments assuming the worst, where it was simply the case of a brother trying to help his brother. LMAO. OP, don't try to go too hard on yourself, your brother, and your friend. Story 3. My relationship with my girlfriend of 1 year didn't start on the best terms, and honestly, I almost knew from the get-go that things weren't really going to end up too well between us, but still have some of the unrealistic love can fix attitude in me. So I decided to go ahead with the relationship. Initially, all was well. Both of us were in the last year of college, so we were already busy with finals, projects, presentations, and such. So you guys can only imagine my shock and surprise when my girlfriend sat me down and told me she was pregnant with our baby. My gut immediately said no. I mean, it wasn't like there was absolutely no assurance that there were zero chances I wasn't the father. Of course, there was that 2% doubt, but deep inside me, I knew there was something fishy going on. But here's the kicker. My girlfriend's dad was a lawyer. She was the typical spoiled brat who got what she wanted. She was a sorority girl whose entire personality revolved around partying, which was okay for someone in college, but I knew as we were approaching adulthood that was getting boring real fast. Unfortunately, like I said though, with my girlfriend's attitude, if I showed an inch of doubt in her, she'd do absolutely everything in her power to get me to stay back. So I began making my plan. I started to use all the spare time I had away from her to make sure that I made a plan with no flaws or holes, and by the end of 8 months of her pregnancy, I had come up with a foolproof plan that would get me off the hook for any sort of legal issues. By that time, I was even able to get enough proof from her phone of her confessing to her friends numerous times about how she's just dragging me along because the person who she thinks is the real father is the deadbeat. I was really in luck here. It was like the opportunity to free myself from her just came walking to me. I had graduated a month prior to her due date, and all that was left was to ghost her completely, which I did while leaving a note behind telling her to only contact me through my lawyer, who was ready with all the evidence to get me off the hook. Then what? I went through with my plans, I ghosted almost everyone from my college, and moved to a completely different city. I've been here ever since. I get updates on how she's been crying and is miserable. I've come clean to my parents about everything I did, and they too say it's pretty inhumane to do something like this. Now, I'm not really sure of my decision, even though it's really less likely I'll take back what I did. What do you guys think? Update. Okay, firstly, let me preface this by saying it's been almost 3 years since I posted on this subreddit. I highly doubt if you guys even remember me, but regardless, I'm here to give you guys closure. Let me pick things up from where I left off. I heard about the chaos that ensued after I ghosted my ex-girlfriend when she was in the hospital to give birth to a child that wasn't mine. At the end, with resistance from my end, my ex-girlfriend was able to get a hold of the real dad of her kid, and her own dad helped him get his shit together. Seems like they're both living a decent-ish life currently. As for me, I ended up meeting the actual love of my life after a year of everything going down. By that point, I was free of all and everything regarding the legalities of that situation, and so, leaving everything behind, I started dating the woman who ended up being the love of my life. I'm not looking for any judgments currently. I've realized where I had gone wrong and where I have not. I just hope this post also ends up serving as a reminder to you guys to not get into stupid relationships in college with the wrong people like me. Good luck to everyone. Comment 1. I mean, there was easier ways to get yourself out of this situation, and you chose a dramatic one, but I'm just glad you didn't stick around and father a child that wasn't yours. Comment 2. OP really walked out of this situation like a king. Good on you.